Pick up on that rope, cause him to stop, turn face, rub on him, get him used to the pressure around his feet, get him used to when he feels pressure on his feet to not fight, to not go into the flight mode. Feels that pressure, just stop, just hang out a little bit. Hobbling is a phenomenal thing to teach your horses. It not only can help them, send him back off here, stop him. Foot comes forward, lead that foot forward. So I'll do this a lot. I'm waiting for him to put his foot down and then the other 3 feet to come forward. So hobbling is a great exercise for your horses. It teaches them to not fight pressure, to yield to pressure, to give to that pressure. If your horse, heaven forbid, ever gets caught in a wire fence, it'll teach them to stand still, not fight, rip their legs apart. But before I ever put a set of hobbles on a horse, I will do this. I'll send them around with a rope around their front foot and teach them to yield to that pressure. I'm not just going to take a horse that's never been hobbled before and throw a set of hobbles on them. Some guys do, but that's pretty sink or swim. A lot of horses can get real western when you do that, so I like that. That time when I put pressure on that foot, I got his mind, I got his nose coming towards me, and then his foot followed me. So that was really good. Do it one more time. Send him off to the right. Get behind his drive line, drive him forward. Pick up on that rope. Just like that. Good boy. So that's the first thing I do, is get him leading by a foot, stopping by a foot, teaching him to yield from pressure with one foot. Of course, before you lead them by that foot, before you put a rope on that foot, you're going to want to make sure, whether it's with your hand or with a stick or a flag, make sure they're comfortable and confident with things around their feet. Can they handle all this stuff? And if they can handle all this stuff, then I'll go to teaching them to lead by their feet. Next thing I'm going to do is take my set of hobbles here. He's already been led by both front feet. Another thing you can do, I'm going to put this in my belt real quick. Another thing you can do, just using your lead rope, so he's already been led by both front feet individually, but you can also put him in a bind by wrapping the rope around both legs. Like that, and then kind of asking him forward so he gets in that bind. Yeah, he tests that bind, tries to find a way out. There is no way out, so then he releases and he gives and he yields to that pressure. If he were to freak out completely, all I'd have to do is let go of the tail of the rope and the lead rope would unwrap around his legs. Take my hobbles. I carry my hobbles on my saddle wherever I go. That way, if I get off my horse, no matter where I'm at, my horse will be there when I get back. Put my hobbles on. A lot of people don't hobble, and I'm not sure why. A lot of people say, well, my horse ground ties. Well, ground tying is great, but what if your horse ground ties 9 out of 10 times, and that one time he doesn't ground tie, you really needed him to be there when you got back, and he wasn't. Hobbling's a pretty safe way to teach them to stand still. I got family members that pack out in Utah, pack on mules, and some of their mules over at night, they'll head back to camp or back to base camp. So they'll hobble their mules at night, they'll hobble their horses at night, just to make sure they can still kind of graze, but they're always there in the morning. rub on him here. Then what I'll do is I'll just ask him to move a little bit. Just a little bit. He needs to know he's hobbled. So he might need to feel those hobbles a little bit. He might need to kind of struggle with them a little bit until he knows and figures out that, man, it's just a lot easier if I stand still. Rub him down here where them hobbles are. Rope around him. Get him used to things happening around his legs, things over his head, all with the hobbles on. Doing good. I'll lead him off so he feels them. Like that. He felt them. He struggled a little bit, then he just kind of relaxed and looked at me. So as far as hobbling goes, that's how I introduce hobbles. Kind of a quick, short little video on hobbles. They have to know they're wearing them. They have to try to fight them. Good boy. I didn't do him up quite tight enough. That one's starting to slide down his foot a little bit. But that's how I like to get my horses used to hobbling. Get them used to their legs being touched, of course. Get them used to ropes being around their legs. Leading them by the legs. Teach them to yield from that pressure individually. Wrapping my lead rope around both of their legs. So they feel that bind, that constriction. They might try to fight it. They start to learn to yield from the pressure, from the lead rope around both legs. Then I'll put the hobbles on. Then I'll ask them to move their feet a little bit. They'll feel the hobbles, they'll kind of fight a little bit, struggle a little bit, but then realize very soon that all I got to do is yield to that pressure. And once you teach your horse to hobble, no matter where you're at, you can get off your horse, put your hobbles on, and you're good to go. All right, thanks for watching.